Good morning. Good morning. This is Joe. A beautiful day on the south side of GA. Today is Saturday, the 16th. And I know I told you guys that I was going to do an episode every day. I'm not going to say necessarily a lot, but I kind of sort of just been waiting to see what was going to happen. So officially, I stayed up till about 12 in the morning. Not something that I wouldn't do on the norm, but I had a couple of obligations to fulfill, as well as I was watching them vote. Now, what I will explain to you guys about the government is not a 9-to-5 job. So they started the beginning process of voting, right? They started voting at 9 in the morning. They came to a conclusion about 12 midnight, okay? And this was brought to you by Nicole Pulaski, okay? Her HEROES Act was passed. Now it is going to the Senate to get voted on. And then after that, the president approves, okay? So we are one step closer, okay? My last episode, about Wednesday, when I did our last episode was pretty perplexed. And what I noticed was a lot of YouTubers, a lot of other podcasters were doing the same thing that I was reporting news on, or that I had already reported news on. It makes me feel a little bit more confident. Now, everything that I told you was absolutely correct. But honestly, let's really, really go into depth of everything. Because what I also noticed is people are saying all the good stuff. They're just now saying a couple of the bad things, or people that they feel is bad. Let me explain something. Everything's going to have a good and a bad part. The bad parts are just a part of your loopholes. And the reason why I say that is because it's important, okay? It's very, very fucking important. So this bill, and they keep saying that this bill is dead on arrival because, the House is majority Democrats. And Democrats pretty much conform this 1,800 page that would include every part of the United States ever, okay? It's going to the Senate House. Senate House is majority Republican. So we're going to see. They basically said that it's definitely dead on arrival. When I went through this 1,800, I didn't go... I'm going to say I went a little bit more into the bill, more than a lot of other people did, right? And the only reason I decided to do that, because in order to give out information, you got to do some type of real skimming. I want to say I got to maybe page 300, something like that. But now I am on docs.us.gov. And for those people who don't know, or for those people who are interested in figuring it out themselves, please go to this website. This will download the entire... Well, necessarily it won't download until you physically download them. But it will give you a website and it'll pull up everything. 1,815 pages of it. And it officially begins like going into detail of this entire HEROES Act plan on page 5. So I am looking at it right now, and let's just see. The following sums are hereby appropriated out of any money in the Treasury not otherwise appropriated for the fiscal year ending September the 30th of 2020. And this part of it would go into the Rural Area Development, Food and Drug Administration. Now, this drug administration specifically means cannabis, if you don't know. For an additional amount for Office of Inspector General, what is this? 25 million to remain available until September the 30th of 2021 to prevent, prepare for, and respond to coronavirus domestically or internationally. So not only are we trying to think of ourselves, we're also thinking about any goods and services that are brought through the United States and brought here. So again, Nicole Pulaski really sat there, and I'm talking about she really did this in depth. A lot of big words. I'm not saying that I don't, it is what it is, okay? So page 6 begins to talk about the domestic food program, food and nutrition services, child nutrition programs. For an additional amount of child nutrition programs, they're going to do about 300 million to remain, which means the whole purpose of food stamps and WIC, they're keeping that program, and they're keep giving max amount of WIC. Ooh, Lord, if my son wasn't 5 already, my ass would be down there at the WIC office, no offense. Because they're giving you the max amount, and they're giving that all the way up until September the 30th of 2020. That's your food stamps and supplemental nutrition assistant programs. That is your food stamps, things of that nature. Food stamps, WIC. That's specifically what the beginning of this bill is talking about. And let's just see. And I'm kind of like, I'm not going to say I'm skimming through, but I am, because what people are failing to do as they are trying to give you information about what's going on is they're specifically just trying to like give you bits and pieces. But I'm here. Joe is here to give you the real. Like, I don't have a choice, because this is not only my livelihood as I'm coming to you, but this is also the livelihood of yourself. So again, like I stated, if you really, really, really want to just get everything in detail and look at it yourself, which is not a problem. There's no issue with you looking it up yourself, right? Okay. I gave you the website, docs.house.gov, and it will pull up a website and it gives it to you in detail, 1,815 pages of it. Okay. I'm about on page 13. Page 13 just basically talks about state, local law enforcement activities, offices of violence against women, predators, and prostitution programs. So Nicole Pulaski, I'm talking about when she thought about everything. I don't know if she ever grew up in the hood or what, but they're putting up big numbers. I personally, and a lot of people from YouTube stars to radio hosts, personalities, and just anybody who's giving out information, let me explain something. A lot of them, they're having what do they call it? A non-biased. There is no way, hell, shit, fuck, or high glory you can have a non-biased opinion. Because if you did not feel some type of way about anything, guess what? You wouldn't even put it out there. And that's just human nature. So, and I'll just give a prime fucking example. If I felt some type of way about anything, I'm going to state, okay, this was just not right. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I would say this is not right is because I felt some type of way about it. Or if something was done wrong to me and I bring it up constantly, I feel some type of way about it. That's just human nature. So for those YouTube stars and for those podcasters and those radio personnels and people of the entertainment industry, and I don't really care, who keep saying they having a non-biased opinion, you have to have some type of opinion, because otherwise you would not be giving the information, right? All right, so I personally just feel like the government keep saying that we're going to be bankrupt. And I'm talking about Nicole Pulaski put a big numbers. These aren't small numbers. These not a couple of thousand here, couple of... This is like millions, billions, and trillions of dollars that she is putting into everything. What is this? I'm just looking. I'm talking about, I don't care what none of y'all say. Nicole Pulaski, this bitch right here really, she really went in. I will say this. Okay, so I'm about on page, I was going back and forth between page 16, right? And no, actually, okay, so actually it starts about page 15, right? And it just basically states, for an additional amount for state, local law enforcement assistance, and it's a big number, and they're going to remain to keep that available until they don't even have a date. And then it also says for offended reentry program, research as authorized by Second Chance Act of 2007. So, of course, if you want to know about the Second Chance Act as far as the enrollment or that program, I never even knew that program actually existed, but okay, something new. They're giving about $5 million. It's established to implement policies, procedures, and prevention, detection, and stop the presence and spread of COVID-19 among people who are arrested, people who are detained, or inmates, correctional facility staffs, visitors. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it where everything in the jail system, from the people visiting from the outside world, because ever since COVID-19, a lot of inmates have still yet to get a visit. They're barely getting letters because they feel like, with all this is going on, it's just ridiculous. So they're also granting $75 million, which is a grant for juveniles with specific services. Now, let's see. Community orientation. I'm skimming and I'm going, and I'm skimming and I'm going. I'm like, this shit is in fucking depth. And I kind of sort of did my research while I was at my present job. Let's see. This right here is crazy. Financial services in general, government development of the Treasury, for an additional amount for salaries and expensive, $35 million to remain available until they don't have a date. Let's see. This right here is just, y'all don't understand how in debt, how deep this bill really goes. And the reason why I'm just skimming is because all right, I had to take a short intermission, but of course I'm back at it. Anyway, so as I'm going through this bill, of course it is necessary to know the ins and outs. And like I stated before, a couple of days ago, I was explaining to you guys that this bill, the HEROES Act, has plenty of meat and potatoes. So look, let's cut straight to the chase. I know y'all want to hear about y'all money. Of course, they've already approved that we're going to get a second round of stimulus checks in order to stimulate the economy. Will it be the $6,000? Of course, probably not. But most definitely, each and every person, each and every American is guaranteed $1,200. For those who have not straightened out their IRS situation, please do see if the portal is open. I was explained, what I gathered was a couple of days ago was, I guess, the last time to actually update your IRS tax information. Not really for sure why, but to each his own. Let's see. So there are a couple of the things. All right, so they're also helping, and in this bill, it specifically states that they're heading the terms for different states and the means, and 50 states plus the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth for Puerto Rico, Guatemala, American Somalia. They're trying to include everybody on this bill. And of course, there are people that are completely against it, that basically states that this bill is dead on arrival. I honestly don't believe it, because this bill, just looking at it and going through it, it has so many good entities in it. And see, a lot of people, and what I didn't read was that they included small businesses. I didn't think that they included small businesses because, of course, I was skimming. But mind you, a lot of people now, they're just now getting into the meat and potatoes of the HEROES Act. Something that you should have originally did if you were a good journalist or a good reporter in general. I'm not going to give you any information that, number one, that I personally have not fully read, which that was an apology on my end. They are granting an available amount, and if anybody wants to look at it, it's on page 42 of 1,815 pages, about the small business loans and the programs that they have in place for small businesses. Specifically, it doesn't say Black-owned businesses, it says small businesses. They're giving payments to the Postal Department, Homeland Security. Let's see. Of course, student debt. They will provide $10,000 of student debt repaid for your student loans, which is a good thing. They're also releasing prisoners. For those prisoners, or for those people who don't know, and if you do listen to me, prisoners who have different situations, different circumstances, will have the ability to be released. Not only have the ability to be released, but also have the ability to not have parole or not have a PO at all. For those who are 50 years and older, you've considered time served, so you're automatically going to be released. The other people that may be released are juveniles who have committed non-violent offense. Okay, sounds crazy, but here's the even crazier part. For those who have asthmatic or lung issues, those are people that are going to be released as well. But of course, it has to be heavily documented in your intake information, as well as in your ongoing cycle that you've been there. Mind you, for those people who have been released or will be released and that have created did a violent crime, and they have those mental or physical issues, they want to take that out of the jail and place it into war, as well as for those people who have HIV and or AIDS. That's included in that as well, because technically your immune system would be considered weak. And if it is considered weak, then that means you're more prone to catch COVID-19. And they're already donating almost 500 million. I definitely apologize. $500 million to the prison and the jail systems to prevent the cause of it. Because mind you, since COVID-19, a lot of prisoners have yet to got a visit because of COVID-19. They're trying to prevent the spread or it coming into the facility. So that is one major part, as well as the student loan. Now, this is what I found a little bit interesting. I recently just moved back home with my parents, and technically, when I left, that would be considered an eviction. Now, in this HEROES Act, they have something in there about evictions. No evictions from January 1st of 2020 all the way up until the end, and going on to January the 1st of 2021. Now, for those people who've been evicted from this moment, not only because of choice or just specifics, but you've been evicted for loss of income and things of that nature. With that being said, there may be a possibility of you being able to get your housing back. But I do know for a fact it's not going to report for a full entire year. So we're going to see how that works out. But in all, I definitely apologize, because I definitely said that I was going to put an episode out every day, because I was really gung-ho and I was really going to go hard. But a lot of people were reporting the same thing that I was reporting, and I had already reported. So I felt like that was like double work. But anyway, like I said, $1,200 has already been guaranteed to each and every American. Now, the next step, it has to go to the Senate House. It already passed the House. Now we're going to the Senate. And then after that, the President. So step by step, it's going to happen. The President already guaranteed that there's going to be more money, because he feel like that's just what's needed for America. And that's understood. As far as the other stuff, if Nicole Pulaski can get this done and convince an entire room to do exactly what needs to be done, do you know how much she would be the shit and beyond? But anyway, I gotta go, because today I showed gratitude, and I hope that gratitude was showed upon you. I actually paid for the person's food that was behind me. Why not? I'm showing gratefulness that I am able to survive another day. So now I'm going to sit in the park with my child, well, one of them, and enjoy my McDonald's. I know, it's not the best or the healthiest, but it was something that I could get on short notice, and I just really came out the house. All right, so as always, party people. It's always going to be a beautiful day on the south side of GA. But definitely tune in for the next episode. Hopefully I'll be back in the next couple of days. Probably tomorrow. We will see. Got a couple of things to do this week. Pay some bills. Mind my business. Be happy. All right, y'all. I'm out.